Everybody, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Matt Connerton, and to my right,
not.
that's true. You are the Honorable Gary S. Hopper.
That's right.
Or as they say in France, the Honorable Jerry S. Hopper.
I don't think they say that.
Really? I looked it up.
I don't believe
I
anybody's.
found that online.
I bet there's nobody that says that.
Aren't you famous in France?
Nope.
Oh, that's Jerry Lewis.
Malaysia.
Malaysia,
We're
that's
famous
right.
in
Yes,
Malaysia.
yes.
We got like 2 people in Malaysia that watch.
3, they had a child.
3?
Yes,
Oh, good.
yes.
It's about
They're
time.
breeding, yes.
Yeah.
Breeding Malaysians. That's a good name for a
The
band.
breeding Malaysians.
Yes.
Oof. Well, okay then.
Hey, you've been on the show before. You should know.
You have been on before?
Well, not with you, with one of the other folks.
Oh.
I'm a first timer.
Oh,
Here.
I'm
Oh.
not going to make any comment relative
It's all right.
to that.
I
at
have
all.
so few firsts at my age.
Susan Olsen and Michelle
Levell. There you go.
He warned you he wasn't going to
I
remember.
know,
That's
I
okay.
know. It's
Yeah.
wicked bad.
Yeah. He remembers to warn you.
I
but-
am so bad. Okay, this is how bad I am. Oh, there's 2.
How
I could come up
bad
with-
is he?
I am this bad. There's a little 12-year-old girl at church who their father had, I think, worked nights for a little while or something, and they only have one vehicle. So around the church, we're divvying up times to pick her up for soccer practice because she signed up for track. So she has to leave at 4:00 from the Ware Middle School, and I said, okay, I'll do Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I get home 6:00 last night.
Uh-oh.
Father calls me up. What happened? Why? What?
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I'm a bad person, but I enjoy me. So anyway, you guys are from the Women's Defense League.
That's right.
What is that? When did that start?
A couple years ago.
A couple of years ago. What happened
Yeah.
now? Because we've had the gals from Second Amendment Sisters. Are they still about? I haven't heard much from them.
No, we're kind of an offshoot of Second Amendment Sisters.
Offshoot, I get it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
See? The SAS chapter is still around, but I don't think it's particularly active.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We ended up forming because we wanted to focus on New Hampshire.
All right.
Instead of having the national focus and a national board, we are all focused
Oh,
here.
Second Amendment Sisters was national.
That's right.
So you're not attached to a national organization
No.
with this? Okay.
It's us, and
Yeah.
we are focused on New Hampshire, both for training the women and offering classes, and of course, you guys have seen us up at the State House.
Yes. You're politically active, fighting against the slings and arrows of untold gun laws.
Exactly, and so those are our 2 missions. They're both very critical to who and what we are, what we do, what we put our time, energy, and passion into. So we have the division that you're more familiar with, our political activism and advocacy.
Right.
We'll be able to tell you more about that in depth. But Susan, me, and our president, Kimberly Morin, comprise the core of our legislative team. So we review all the Second Amendment legislation that comes through. We work very closely with activists on that issue. We held one rally a year ago, December.
Right.
Women's rights are gun rights, and that was like the first ever of that type.
I like that because it's not. I think I was telling you before the program. One of the most awesome thing that's happened to the Second Amendment fight is women being involved.
It's
We would agree.
absolutely. It's a unique voice up in Concord to approach this issue from a woman's perspective, and frankly, I think it's made a critical difference in our effectiveness up there.
Oh, it has. It has because prior to this, the dynamics were, male bravado versus women protecting their children from the bad gun people.
Exactly.
And it was this. I know that it was a false narrative, but that's exactly how it played out.
And optics matter.
And optics matter, yeah.
It
Yes,
does.
they do.
So we've got a very large presence in Concord.
Right.
We do that. We're going to be holding a rally, hopefully in May.
You going
So-
to be at the gun show this weekend?
Yes.
Oh, of course we are.
Of course.
You have a
Powers the
table?
people.
You bet.
Do that.
Stop by.
Okay. Yeah, for those who don't know, there's going to be a gun show at the Everett Arena on Route 9 in Concord Saturday and Sunday,
Right.
9 to 5 on Saturday and 9 to 2 on Sunday.
Yep.
Is that how they say it in France? Everett?
Yes.
Ah,
That's a French. We talk about the people from Monterey back on the show a lot.
Oui.
We sorry.
So yes, we will be there, and we'll be talking about obviously the league and what we do, and it's interesting. We've been to I don't know how many gun shows,
Several. Loose track.
and watching how people pass by the table, and if it's women by themselves, most of the time they will stop, and what's this and that, and sometimes when it's husbands and wives, the husband is walking on and the wife is sort of trailing behind and looking. And sometimes we just have men stop by,
Right.
and that's really because they're going, what is the Women's Defense League? We have a chance to tell them. In fact, the last Concord Gun Show, last April,
Yeah.
when we were in the middle of the Senate Bill 116 fight, you may recall,
What was 116?
constitutional carry.
Okay. The governor vetoed that, I assume?
Of course,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
But we had a petition that we were asking people to sign that we hand delivered to her radiance, asking her not.
Or radiance.
Her radiance, yes, that's what we call her, her radiance.
Right.
And asking her to end 100 years of discrimination and pass Senate Bill 116. And there was a fellow who stopped by, and he looked so familiar to me, and he's sitting there chatting us up, and he says, what's this petition? And we explained it to him, and he says, well, let me sign it. And we said, absolutely, we'll hand deliver it. And he was kind of hoping we'd recognize him, and I'm sitting there and look, and he goes, well, and this I suppose is sort of shameful, but he said, I'm Kelly Ayotte's husband.
Oh.
Not she's.
Whoops.
I found that very interesting, but nevertheless, and we said, oh well, you really ought to call your wife, and tell her that she should, call her radiance
Right.
and suggest that she sign this bill. Unfortunately, Senator Ayotte did not support constitutional carry in New Hampshire, and I think that was lost on her husband.
There has got to be some other gun bills that we've thrown her radiance that would be
Stand your ground.
resonate with the women in the next election.
Well, certainly constitutional carry is
Most people don't understand it.
Well, it's. May I?
Please. Go ahead.
It's a bit of a.
Obviously, I voted for it, but I'm just saying.
Oh, you don't think we didn't check your record? Come on.
Wow.
Gary loves it when the gun groups pay close attention to his record, don't you,
It
Gary?
depends on which gun. NHFC's attacked me at
yes.
least 2 or 3 times. And,
Well, don't feel special.
I don't care anymore. I used to care, and then I realized. Anyway, go ahead.
Constitutional carry is a bit of a misnomer and sort of a catchphrase and meant to for people to be able to remember it. But in the state of New Hampshire, we have still a statute on the books, RSA 159.6,
Yep.
that requires someone to possess a license from their local police chief
Yes.
in order to carry a firearm loaded, what we like to say is discreetly. Now, you can call it concealed carry, or whatever you want to call it, but the statutory name is a pistol license.
Right.
And so what we did 2 years ago was find a Senate sponsor, believe it or not, to carry our flag, to make the pistol license not eliminate it like they
Right.
did in Maine or
Yeah, you
other
didn't want to
states.
eliminate it because then you don't have reciprocity.
Precisely.
Exactly. Okay.
We wanted to make it optional.
Huh.
But most importantly, we wanted to remove some very horrible language in that statute that made New Hampshire a may issue state
Right.
instead of a shall
I
issue
thought we
state.
changed it to shall a long time ago.
Negatory. What we have and have today
Yep.
is a police chief must find you to be a suitable person.
Hence the may issue instead
Exactly.
of shall issue. Okay.
So it's subjective.
It's
Okay.
wholly subjective, and
So,
at the
wait,
discretion
what
and in
what
the
does the actual word say? Shall issue unless. Or
No,
does it say
no, it
may
doesn't
issue to suitable.
it. Gosh, I should have this tattooed somewhere, but I don't.
You run out of room, you know. Sorry.
Perhaps. But the police chief, you must be of a certain age, and you must have a reason to apply. Hunting, personal security, things like that.
Target practicing, I think, is one, isn't it?
Is it hunting? Certainly.
Might be. I don't remember.
But
I
we'd
always
have to
just-
look at the statute,
always
and I
just lie
apologize.
fill it out.
Should never do that.
Oh no, I shouldn't say that.
But once you have met those criteria,
Right.
then you fill out a form, and then the police chief decides whether you are suitable or not.
Yeah.
And in 100 years, there has not been a definition of suitable. There used to be on the back of this application form
Okay.
a bullet point that said if a person is not prohibited by state or federal law,
Right.
they shall be deemed a suitable person. And we
That's
relied on that
That's
forever.
what I think that's what I remember then. 'Cause
Yes.
I knew there was a shall in there somewhere.
That was on the back.
Okay.
That was on the back. And we relied on that forever until a police chief in Hooksett took it upon himself to deny a license to a fellow. And the fellow challenged the denial on the basis of he was not a prohibited person.
Right.
And the judge said, well, too bad.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What was it? What was the grounds for not being suitable?
Well, apparently, and again, I don't have it in front of me. I should have brought it. He had some sort of ticket or something in Massachusetts. I think you can sneeze loudly in Massachusetts and be guilty of some crime.
Oh,
Right.
I am sure it's getting that way in New Hampshire too.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So the police chief denied him on the basis that, well, you were a bad boy in Massachusetts, although he was not a prohibited person under USC 19G, I
Yeah,
believe.
you have to be a felon.
No, you don't have to be a felon. You could be a dishonorably discharged veteran. You could
Oh,
be
okay.
someone
Yeah,
who's
yeah, that's true,
given
too.
up their citizenship.
Yeah,
You could
because
be
I
in
think
custodial
it goes
care.
along with whatever is on the when you buy a gun. There's a list.
On the 4473, the ATF
Correct.
44,
I think it
that
kind
is
of went
correct.
along with that.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. So he said, well, I'm not a prohibited person, therefore I am suitable. And because I am suitable according to your own form, you must grant me this license. Well, the judge said, oh, they were just kidding. That's not really a form, and even if it is, you can't rely on that because it's not in statute, so there's no definition
Correct.
in statute.
it,
So
yeah.
in the dark of night, the former Earl of Sweeney at the Department of Safety changed the form and eliminated that bullet point.
Well, he would have. I would think that would be reasonable for him to do that. If the judge has already ruled that the RSA do not explicitly say that, and therefore the thing on the back of the form is not consistent with the law, because the judge has already said that it's not in the RSA, so therefore we don't care. It's probably. I don't know that that's necessarily inappropriate for him to have done that.
Well, it was also the definition of form because it didn't go through the Joint Legislative Committee on Administrative Rules.
Oh, okay, okay.
But they said, oh, we don't have to do that because it's not really a form. We were just kidding. So, all of a sudden, we find out about this. Someone notices that, my goodness gracious, the pistol license form has changed.
When was this?
July of
14?
2014, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we went, So
evil works?
we got involved in a fishing expedition over at the Department of Safety and effectively stonewalled and decided, well, maybe the time has come to define suitable. And then we started doing research into the legislative history, as one should do when one proposes new legislation.
Yeah.
Why did this come about? And we discovered that it came about in 1923 under the administration of Democrat Governor Fred Brown, who had presided over a 9-month strike at the Amoskeag Mills here in Manchester.
Oh.
And the people at the Amoskeag Mills at the time, 17,000 of them were unnaturalized, foreign-born residents.
Wouldn't that, them, not them darn Irish.
Oh, there were Irish, there
Oh,
were...
no wonder.
French Canadian.
Why
French
didn't they
Canadian.
just say that?
Well, they thought about it. So at the end of this strike, and plus they were labor agitators, okay?
Oh, gosh, agitators and their... Well, I guess that's redundant.
Perhaps, yes. So at the end of this 9-month strike by these unnaturalized foreign-born citizens, the white boys up in Concord decided that they didn't want this rabble having access to firearms in case they
Oh.
decided to strike again.
Right.
So they passed this law that automatically made foreign-born unnaturalized citizens the equivalent of felons and prohibited them forever and ever, amen, from possessing
See,
or
I'm
purchasing
glad
a
you
firearm.
did that research, because I would have presumed that it was to give a chief the way out, because there are some people that have really not committed any crime, but I wouldn't want them owning a toaster. And we all know those people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're not quite. They're quite a few bubbles off plum, if is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Well,
but there's a lot of them in the legislature.
No, they're
Let me give you an example where someone was found to not be
plum.
suitable.
Wait. We gotta
Okay.
I've never heard this
Go. A
expression.
level has a bubble.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, this is like hardware and tool stuff.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That's why I don't get it. Okay.
A brick shy of a full load.
I've heard that expression.
Okay.
Yes.
Ham
Okay.
sandwich short of a picnic basket.
Oh, see, food, I totally get that. It's my stomach's world, and you all just
The
live in
elevator
it. So.
doesn't quite make it to the top.
That one I'm familiar with too. Yes.
Sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. But there are plenty of examples where people have been found not suitable, not issued their pistol revolver license,
Right.
who are not prohibited people but still weren't given their license,
Correct.
including me.
Why?
I, this last summer, had my PRL come up for renewal. And this was the second renewal, because in New Hampshire, they're
Remember that second renewal.
second renewal by the same police chief. I live in the same town. He had previously issued my PRL twice, and it comes to you every 4 years in your birthday month.
PRL is
Pistol revolver license.
okay.
So mine expired last July, and I went to get it renewed, and I was denied. I filled out my form. It was complete. It was accurate. I gave my 3 references, and it didn't even have a speeding ticket to my name.
Yeah.
And I was not found to be suitable because I did not comply with the unlawful request to include phone numbers for my references. Now, on the form, it says name and address. And there are 3 lines, and you need to supply 3 references.
Yeah.
It even says on the form that the form cannot be altered.
Huh.
So I gave names and addresses of 3 references.
Yeah.
As it unfolds, the police or the issuing body, whether it's your selectman or the police department, have 14 days in which to issue it or give you a written explanation as to why you were denied,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Turns out my police department did not send letters to my references until day 9. So they eventually received letters, regular letters, that were postmarked 9 days after the time I had dropped off the form.
Right.
By then, so they go to respond, and the letter simply said, is Michelle suitable without defining what criteria do they want. So what
Yeah.
what criteria should my friends base that on? What do you want to know?
I don't think she's a suitable mechanic.
I'm not a suitable mechanic,
See?
definitely not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would have
But
to say no.
so if that's your
Airplane
standard,
technician.
I would not have met your threshold. But
Right.
without knowing what his threshold is, what does he want to know?
So do you think do you think that's intentional?
Very.
To
It
kind
was-
of
it
run
was.
out the clock?
Because I did not comply with giving phone numbers. In fact, at the time, our police department had it on their website that phone numbers were required, even though by law they were not.
So you said, but that's an unlawful request? Phone
It
number?
is.
It was above and beyond what the law
So
required.
now,
Okay.
now, did you take it to court?
I had to, because that is the only remedy in statute.
If
It
you're
doesn't
denied,
say.
it doesn't say, yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't say I can take him out for coffee and sit down and explain it to him.
Right.
It doesn't say maybe I should get my local state rep to intervene on my behalf. It says in statute that the only way to resolve it is to take him to court.
Okay.
So I was denied, it turns out, on day 12 of that 14-day cycle. So he was
Yeah.
more clearly quite prepared to deny me.
Yeah, yeah.
And the reason listed in the letter said, because my references hadn't responded. They had just mailed them.
Right.
yeah.
In fact, my friends didn't even receive them by the time I had already received my denial.
Yeah.
Okay? So I had to take him to court, and it's supposed to be an expedited hearing. Through a bizarre set of circumstances, the court postponed it twice. So it ended up taking 112 days
Wow.
instead of the 30 that's in statute.
Yeah.
Took 112 to finally have my day in court.
Wow.
And what was his defense in court when you have evidence that he didn't mail those till
Well, the judge didn't have much patience with it.
with whom?
With the captain
Good.
Okay.
and
Good.
with the police chief. They were both there. Now, again, think about it. So they're in court having to defend their denial of my license instead of actually doing their job for the town.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? And it so happens that
Well, it's
another...
overtime, it's okay.
And they had another police officer act as the attorney on their behalf. So it took 3 police officers to be in court for a half a day. Actually, it was the better part of a full day.
Really?
Just about.
Wow.
Because they had to intersperse other cases and things. So it
Yeah.
took the better part of a full day. But it took 112 days. They had 2 of my 3 references there that they were able to.
Oh.
I did hire an attorney.
Yeah.
Because if I lost, I would lose my ability. I would be in trouble then for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I would have to honestly say on a form that I was denied.
Well, not only that, but the precedent that would set.
Exactly. So, yes, I hired an attorney. It cost me 4 figures,
Holy mackerel.
okay? And by the end of the day, I had my license. The judge made it very clear in his ruling that the police department did not have a substantive reason,
Good.
and it was issued immediately. But let's be honest. Who has the time
yeah.
and the
Yeah,
money?
how many people have,
Or-
$4,000 to defend?
Time off work, and this was postponed 3 times. So, you only find out at the last minute that your case
Right.
isn't going to be scheduled.
Right.
So, any working parent that's babysitters, arranging for the child care, time off work, and then, who really feels comfortable challenging their police department?
Right. Exactly.
Well, not everybody is, and I can't blame them.
Well, because the next time you get pulled over for speeding or something, you're getting a ticket.
Right. Seriously, and I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So that whole time, I was concerned about my teenagers who have licenses. What if they got pulled over? Would they be? They weren't. So I'll be on. They
Yeah,
were
yeah.
not harassed.
Good,
But
good.
I was concerned.
Sure. That's a reasonable concern to have.
No, I had
She was also defenseless outside of her home for 112
Yeah.
days,
Now-
and they put her at risk.
Right.
Yeah.
So what?
Deliberately and knowingly.
So
Yeah, you're
thankfully,
right.
I'm in a long-term happy marriage. But what if I wasn't? What if I had an abusive relationship and I was really concerned? about this, where my safety was at risk at home or
Right.
some. Seriously? That was 112 days that got postponed.
Yeah.
So when you think about that suitability standard, there might be some people who you wouldn't trust with a toaster.
I think,
but
yeah.
then again, the Chiefs have this wide, bizarre latitude
Yeah.
to use a definition in any way they want.
Right.
So that is why last year's Senate Bill 116 and this year's House Bill 582 that is still alive in the Senate is so critical.
Now, has there been a bill to just change it to shall and not just constitutional carry? Because constitutional carry, if you go around and just talk to gun people, a lot of them don't care. I'm just being straight with you. You talk to them, they say, "Well, it's $10. So what?"
Right.
You know. So that's their attitude. They don't get into the minutia of a case like yours, where you're just
Yeah.
doing what you think is right, and all of a sudden, and that's not to say most police chiefs are really good. You know, most cops are really good. All you need is one jerk to force the hand of the legislature to make something like this even necessary.
Here's another example. Seabrook. We
Oh,
recently.
what town was that?
My town?
Yes.
Wyndham.
Wyndham. Okay.
So,
So it's like being in Massachusetts anyway, really.
no, it's much better. Thank you. I'd prefer Wyndham
dare
to
you.
Mass.
I know.
But I had an incident at my home maybe 5 years ago where I had somebody trying to break in. Fortunately, it resolved fine. But
Yeah.
but no, I mean, you never know. And we had a friend of ours brought to our attention that Seabrook has a whole nother additional form and set of requirements for how their department would issue licenses. They required that all 3 references be within the same town of Seabrook.
Really?
Yep, and not be family members.
Yeah.
And they had
Driver's
to show
license.
proof of residency.
Photo ID.
Seabrook is a
Whoa.
weird
So
place anyway.
those are not, I mean, you could argue that any of those things are reasonable. Like it would be reasonable for me to have supplied phone numbers for my friends because it would expedite the process, make it very easy.
Yeah.
But a phone conversation, there's no record. So let's say hypothetically, my friend said I was fine, no problem. But let's say the police chief could then say, oh no, they said XYZ about you.
Right.
Right? So there's a good reason why not to have that correspondence over the phone, but
Yeah.
instead have it in writing.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's Seabrook. You could again say it's reasonable to show proof of residency, but that is above and beyond what the law requires.
And also
for
narrows
the
down
form.
the spectrum of people that might want to even be used as reference because they don't want to provide because that's above and beyond what they because you're asking when you ask to be a reference of somebody, that person is being put in a position of saying that you're a decent person and all this, and now you want me to show you my driver's license? Really?
Well, it would be the driver's license of the applicant, not of the references. But
Oh,
you would
oh.
have to list a Seabrook friend.
Yeah.
Obviously, not a family member, but a friend in Seabrook. And the form itself says that you cannot add things to the form. So here, quite clearly,
Right.
Seabrook did.
Right.
Has
right.
anybody appealed that?
I don't know if that's
Not
in the
ye-
process.
Not yet. But back to the original statute
Yep.
in 1923. What's so offensive was the automatic criminalization of people who'd been asked to come to Manchester to work in the Amoskeag mills
Right.
for the profit of whomever owned them.
Yep.
But for the Democrat governor to think it was clever to say, well, unnaturalized foreign-born citizens and felons cannot own or possess guns. But if you're not one of those two, then you just go to the police chief and he'll decide if you're suitable. So suitable was sort of a wink, wink, nudge,
Right.
nudge for
code.
white Anglo-Saxon, looks like the guys in Concord,
Right.
and looking at the amendment to the New Hampshire Constitution in 1974.
Anglo-Saxon.
Well, they were sort of the help, weren't they?
Yeah, pretty
But when you think about it, in 1974, the Constitution of the state of New Hampshire was amended to constitutionally forbid discrimination based on race, ethnicity, gender, or religion.
Yeah.
That's in the Constitution, but in
Yeah.
statute, suitable was in the eyes of the police chief.
Right. Right.
And, you know, maybe, I don't know, you got like a beard and kind of swarthy action going on over here. You might not be suitable. You might be a
Right.
political
I think she's
activist.
talking about you.
I'm not very suitable.
Yes.
I'm a klutz. I avoid anything.
He goes over to my house shooting. He didn't want to do it because he's afraid he's gonna
First time
drop
ever.
the gun and have it go off and everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
That's wicked funny.
I'm a klutz. When
So
I say
threw
I
him
don't
a
eat,
loaded gun.
when I say I don't eat steak because I don't want to cut. Like I'm not
Cut your
kidding. Like
fingers
I'm
off.
afraid I'm really going to cut my fingers off. Yeah.
Well, you come to one of our newbie classes and we'll get you out of there.
Oh, you
and,
can't.
oh, that's right.
You
Never
can't,
mind.
sorry.
If you wear a dress, you
You,
can.
no.
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 Am I being discriminated against?
Yes, and
because
you won't
I'm
be allowed to
male?
vote for 100 years either.
We do
So-
have a lot of men who are members, but our classes, that's a part we didn't talk about yet. But
Okay, go to talk about that.
we offer monthly education programs, and we are the only Second Amendment organization that is statewide that has an ongoing commitment to the training as well as the advocacy. So although they're great groups, don't get me wrong, we're the only ones who offer the training as well.
You do training for. If I apply for a pistol permit in, I don't know what other states require a licensed, going through a licensed course, safety course.
We do not as an organization, but there are ladies who teach our classes who have that certification that you could take one of their private classes.
Oh, okay.
But as an organization, we deliberately have our classes specifically for women because, let's be honest, some of the ladies that come to our shoots and our training have had those bad situations
yeah.
or been in those.
I think they're also just more comfortable. I mean, if you're just learning, being around a loud, obnoxious guy shooting his .44 Magnum to impress you is not necessarily.
Doesn't
I
work.
see the videos, and it really drives me nuts. The guy will have his girlfriend, who weighs maybe 90 pounds soaking wet, shooting a .44 Magnum or a 12 gauge with 3.5-inch slugs. And I wouldn't shoot that. 44 I would. The 3.5-inch slugs, no way, that hurts. And it's just, and you see the gun either fall out of her hand or she gets knocked on her butt, and it's just,
That's
it's
not.
horrible.
He's setting her up to fail
Exactly.
and be upset and miserable and not enjoy it.
Right.
So we don't do that at
Yeah,
all.
that's what I mean. It's a lot of guys go out there to impress their girl instead of, like when I go to when I teach somebody, I always start with 22s.
That's all we use.
Right, and then if
Yep.
they're okay with that, I'll let them try like a 9mm or
Yep.
38. And if they say, well, is that you comfortable with that? Because I've got a 357 and a 10mm. If you want to try it, and if they don't, they don't.
So all of our intro classes, we have them every other month. They only shoot 22s.
Okay.
And it's in a very controlled setting with certified instructors and range safety officers, and it's done in a way very gradual so that they build on success. And
Right.
they walk out of there with these big smiles, like, look what I did. And
Right.
they're all excited. And I mean, if you look at our website, you'll see the photos.
Yep.
These ladies come out feeling like some of them have overcome fears
Right.
to be there, and they walk out feeling like they're on top of the world.
Sure. Sure.
And so we offer that kind of class structure every other month, and our classes fill up oftentimes in 48 hours or less.
Fish and Game has a really cool program, and it's up near the lakes. I forget what lake it is. and it's for hunting for women.
Yes, they've got
And
another.
that fills up wicked quick, and it's
does.
it's the same kind of thing. I was talking to one of the instructors, and you got these women that go up there because they want to try something new, but they're scared. And then they shoot a gun for the first time, and they realize, wow, that really wasn't that bad, and they hit the target too.
Right.
And it's like it's just this crap-eating grin comes over.
It's kind of how I felt when I shot with you, except I don't think I hit the target ever. But other than that,
So what? It went bang, and you didn't kill anybody.
that's true. That's
we
true.
know of.
That we know of. There could have been someone like way far away,
Right,
but
right,
obviously
yeah.
we didn't know
Yeah.
them, so
I don't
whatever.
care.
Yeah.
But we have, so our training comes from a woman's perspective. So we have guns that fit their hand.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big difference right there.
Not for me. I got tiny girl hands.
See, my husband is like 3 times my size.
Yeah.
Quite literally, he's the size of a door frame. He is. So what fits him isn't going to fit me.
No.
And just like you wouldn't wear, I would not wear my husband's shoes. They would not fit me. I wouldn't be able to walk properly.
It would be
I can't.
comical, though.
It would be quite hysterical.
Right. It'd be like a clown shoes,
But
really.
I would not be able to safely
Yeah.
shoot his gun.
Right.
So why should I have to? That's just not safe. So we have guns that fit women's hands.
Right.
And, people ask, so what should I try? What should I buy? We share with the ladies that we know and have had experience with. We know they've got safe handling. We can share our firearms with them, and they can try a few out that way.
Right.
And ask other ladies, so what do you like? What fits? What kind of holster do you like? And all of the ergonomics are different for a woman as well. So it makes a difference just from the whole training and being a responsible gun owner.
Yeah. No, that's actually really good. And because I'm sure I've said this on the show because I've believed this forever, is that to me, if instead of in the Union Leader there was an article about a woman who was molested in someplace, if man was shot 5 times in testicles after an attempted rape, the number of rapes would go down a lot really quickly. Women defending themselves really does a lot to just protect all the other women who don't.
Yeah.
It does, and I think New Hampshire is consistently in the top couple safest states in the entire
yeah.
country.
Yeah.
And yes, our gun laws are a big part of why that is.
Well, sometimes Vermont's #1, and they have constitutional carry now, right?
Yep.
They have no gun laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get
There's a
zero.
very different
Yeah.
situation.
It's very safe there.
But the league also offers non-firearms training as well, called Refuse to be a Victim, and it teaches situational awareness. It teaches you things as simple as when you get in your car, don't look at your phone. Get in your
Right.
car, lock your door,
Right.
and then look at your phone.
Right.
Walking down a street to be aware of your circumstances. Looking at your home from the standpoint of, am I sensible in something as unordinary as landscaping? It teaches you. Doesn't teach things. All these bells go off, and you go, I never thought about that as a means of looking at my own safety without having to have a firearm. So the league offers to go anywhere, almost any time, to groups to go teach that,
Yeah.
non-firearms. And perhaps surprisingly, we have a relationship with some of the organizations in the state of New Hampshire that concern themselves with preventing domestic violence against women. And while they may not be pro-firearms, they support our mission of women being empowered and knowledgeable and some confidence level in protecting themselves.
Yeah.
So we try to cover all the bases.
I wonder if, I don't know if anyone studied this specifically, but I wonder if situational awareness in general in our society has kind of decreased over the years because everyone's looking at their phone, like you said, when they get into a vehicle or they're walking down the street and they're looking at their phone and they're not paying attention to anything going on around them. You know, I wonder if just in general, if we're all kind of less, well, not you because you don't have a cell phone, but
No,
if-
I am naturally unobservant.
right, there you go. So you've got it covered.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all less situationally aware than we should be,
That's
probably.
why I carry, because I have no clue what's going on around me.
There you go. That's a good policy.
But we, even something as simple as at Christmas time, you're in the parking lot at the Mall of New Hampshire, and you're coming out with shopping bags. Something so simple as keeping one hand free, or having your car keys out already, or
Yeah.
parking near or under a light, or just not placing yourself unnecessarily or stupidly in harm's way.
Well, the thing is, unless, for most people, they haven't been criminals. So they don't, a normal person wouldn't know what to look for.
Correct.
So having a class that says, okay, from a criminal's perspective, this is a vulnerability. Because you wouldn't think of it that way.
Right.
You know? So I think that's a really great thing. But what's with the pearls? You guys are both wearing pearls tonight, and I don't know.
It's our
Are
uniform.
they like attack pearls or
We call them our assault pearls.
assault?
Okay.
Assault
They're
pearls,
assault
yes.
pearls.
Why are they assault pearls?
Well, they are our standard uniform when we go up to Concord.
Yes.
So of course we had to wear them for you today.
Right.
It started just over a year ago when we were attending the Senate hearings for Senate Bill 116, the constitutional carry bill.
Yeah.
In the
believe-
hall.
In
In
Rep
Reps
Hall,
Hall.
it was so full, they moved the hearing to Rep Hall. And there were a few of us, I think, that were wearing pearls just by coincidence that day. But the Moms Demand Action ladies were there. And
In their tacky T-shirts.
they had T-shirts that said, something, whatever. They were scared. And they were later interviewed by one of the state papers. And
No, it was WMUR.
Was it WMUR? Oh, God.
Sorry.
Okay, I thought it was Union Leader, but
They don't know who we are, so we
Oh,
just,
really? Yeah.
Right.
so WMUR then, and the Moms Demand lady said they were so afraid of us.
Right.
They were afraid.
It was like being in front of a firing squad.
That's what they said.
They
a
said
firing
that?
squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we figured if our pearls were that intimidating,
Right.
Right.
so it's part of our uniform every time we go up there.
Wow. You're just scaring the crap out of everybody with those babies.
Well, and we do occasionally toss them before the swine there, but
Right.
not
Right. Oh, yeah.
I was
yeah.
thinking maybe they shot out lasers or
No,
something. 'Cause that'd be
no.
awesome.
That
No.
would be awesome.
We
Yeah.
could maybe do a little bobble for that.
We could.
We hadn't thought about that. Thank you.
Yeah, glad
So-
to help.
Thank you.
So that's what that's that
Yes.
is funny.
So when you see us up there wearing pearls, be afraid.
Yes,
Very
yes.
afraid.
Yeah.
I know. I am. I am anyway. But that was like I don't know how many years ago it was. I was I don't know 2003 or something. There was an article saying that New Hampshire was one of the least safe states in the country.
Well, there are a number of people moving here from Massachusetts and
No,
New York.
No, it wasn't that. Actually.
No?
No.
Okay.
It's a good guess. No, but it depends on who's writing the study. And the
Right.
study was entirely based on whether or not you had significant and effective gun laws.
Okay.
So, like, Vermont was really bad.
Well-
We were secondly really bad. And it was done by, like, the national organization,
Hopelophobes.
national organization to castrate men.
Well, they may be one
I
and the
don't like
same.
that
That's the
organization
that's
Brady
the
Foundation,
the little
perhaps, or-
sisters
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
hopelophobes.
Same
Yes.
thing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look primarily at FBI statistics that come out every year.
Whoa, you're going to look at facts?
Actual
I know,
Oh,
real
yeah,
data,
Come on.
and it's not
Uniform
data
crime
we've
report
cherry
says.
picked. It's what
That's
you know.
passe, really.
I know it's a
You're supposed
dying
to come up
art.
With your own data. That,
What, like the Trace or
No,
Bloomberg?
like in other words.
We
no.
actually did come up with our own data. In fact, last year,
Yes.
during the Senate Bill 116 hearings, we commissioned a poll, a survey
Right.
of it was more than 800. It was following that crazy public policy we call it the PP poll,
Right.
the public policy poll, had run a survey and it said, oh my God, you know, everybody in New Hampshire hates guns, and basically they want to take them away.
National propaganda radio.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
perhaps. So we commissioned a poll of registered voters,
Right.
randomly chosen. And what we asked about was very specifically whether or not they were aware of the discriminatory background and history of New Hampshire's pistol licensing law.
Right.
And the questions talked about, do you believe that people of different ethnicities or, you know, gender should be denied a license, things of that nature. Fact, not emotion.
Right.
Republican, Democrat, male, female, all age groups, all counties. And interestingly enough, the results came back that in excess of 74% of everyone polled, Democrat, Republican, male, female, opposed the discriminatory history, and had they known that, they would support overturning it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'd be happy to supply you with that. But we didn't invent that data. We simply documented
Yeah.
that data and those statistics. Of course, we were accused by the miscellany boo people of push polling and any number of different other things.
Well, they're
And
familiar with it.
they are, and we got a big from the Democrats in the House. But
Right.
and of course, her radiance ignored it totally.
Right.
But we hold her as the biggest discriminator because she's fully aware of this.
Yeah.
So she goes along with state-sanctioned discrimination.
Oh, yeah.
We even met with her official minions.
Oh, that's
Oh, really?
right.
We did.
Yeah,
We
the
had an
minions.
extensive meeting, more than an hour.
Oh, yeah.
They gave us a lot
Really?
of their time.
Yes, I
We
forgot
talked
all
about it.
that.
We did. We met with them. We gave them the results. We showed them the historical evidence. And the funny thing was, they didn't dispute any of it.
Right.
They just said, oh no, public safety.
Right. Yeah.
You know, oh, the chiefs need to have that kind of discretion.
I will tell you, after being up there since, I think I missed 3 years, but I was first elected in 2000. Between the Speaker of the House and the Senate President and the deals that go on behind the scenes, if you actually watch what happens in the New Hampshire House will typically, and quite frequently, if you watch what they do as opposed to what they say, they tend to be endorsers or rubber stamps for the particular departments that they oversee for the state. If, in other words,
Makes sense.
I'll give you an example. I had a bill, Narcan. I only really I don't do a lot of bills because I think it's a waste of people's time. You either have a couple of good ideas and you try to push them through, or you don't. But you don't push 20 bills through because we're volunteers. You should be very cognizant of the time you're using. Anyway, so I had one real bill that I really concentrated on or cared about, and it was a Narcan bill. And it said that if you go to the are treated with Narcan, you go to the ER, before you're discharged, they have to give you the opportunity to speak with a sobriety coach. A sobriety coach is somebody that's in a 12-step program, is in recovery, and goes through training. So it's a peer type of situation where they come and say, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to go visit my friends after this. You say, no, you're not. You're going to go get high. Because you know if you go back to your friends, that's exactly what's going to happen. Do you want to die, or would you like to get help? Because I can help you do that. That kind of thing. Wicked cheap, because these people most of them are volunteers. All the testimony was positive. Subcommittee, most of it was positive, but they still came out with a positive recommendation. Then the Hospital Association got involved in behind the scenes right before the vote.
Yeah.
So who are they representing? They're not doing it for the people.
Right.
They're representing the Hospital Association.
And not all of those folks, I mean, they formally wear the orange lobbying badge, But if you look at the state agencies or the other ones at the other
They're even worse.
associations, they are effectively lobbyists, and they're taxpayer funded, at
Taxpayer
least
funded
at the
what?
local level.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they can't, by statute, they can't take state money, but they certainly do take local taxpayer money. And many, many committees treat them as the experts. They're trusted.
Right.
They'd rather they see those state agencies or these associations as somehow neutral experts in the discussions, but they really aren't.
No.
They have their own.
They have an agenda, and
They-
they're
they-
trying to get it through.
They clearly do.
Vested self-interest.
It is.
And-
I know when I was chairman of Fish and Game, when they're new, every
Fish cops. I've never been able to reconcile that.
okay. Anyway, when I was chairman of Fish and Game, that's the first thing. One of the first things I told the committee chairs, because some of them are brand new, is you're here to represent the people. Make sure you do not become too close to the people at Fish and Game, because that's not who you represent.
Right.
But if you look at the committees and what they do, they represent Fish and Game and or Highway and it's completely contrary to the way it was intended.
Absolutely.
Well, I have to say that we had extraordinary cooperation and support from both Senate and House leadership on Senate Bill 116.
Oh yeah, because it's a gun bills are a little bit different.
No, we had Senate Bill 116 was championed by
Oh.
Jeb Bradley.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
True.
And he shepherded that bill through the Senate and coordinated with the House and showed up at all the hearings,
Press conference?
our press conference. I mean,
Yep.
he even let us take a picture of him in a Women's Defense League hat. He would not wear the pearls, and I get that, but he did wear the hat.
Homophobic, really.
Yeah, he's not a very confident man, obviously.
It probably didn't go with his tie or something.
Probably didn't go with the
Right,
tie
good, yeah.
or the cowboy boots.
Okay.
But he championed that bill, and even in sending it to the desk of Heradians,
Yeah.
tried to.
That,
I mean,
that is good. That
he-
is good.
so
we
I-
we get a phone call.
We're almost out of time, so we'll take this quickly. Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's on the line?
Hi, this is Eddie. Hey, listen, I'm listening to your show. Can you expand a little bit on the subject of people who lobby who shouldn't be lobbying? Okay, I've heard a little bit about this, like people that are getting paid by the government somehow, right? Like they're state employees, and they go and they lobby on state time.
yeah.
Okay, because it's really weird.
Yeah.
Because I don't really have anything against lobbying. Like if a guy owns a widget factory, or just as a for example, and he wants to pay somebody to lobby for him, that's one thing.
Right.
But it gets really weird when there's, obviously your panel knows more about it than I do.
Yeah, well,
You guys
Susan.
are there.
Susan's got something to say about that, so we'll let her address that before we
I'm
wrap
going to hang
up.
up and listen.
Hey,
to
thank you.
All right, Eddie. Thank you.
That is disturbing. However, if you look at the statutes, state employees are specifically and statutorily exempt from any rules that apply to lobbyists.
Oh, okay.
They can't-
There is a legitimate
Interesting.
reason for that, though. If the people in the committee maintained objectivity, getting information from the department heads of whatever department that is absolutely legitimate, because you're trying to look at information from all sides. Like we were discussing the Lori bill in judiciary this week. I just take everything they say with a grain of salt, because I know that they've got an angle. So they should be there to tell us, because you have to, if you're a legislator, you have to make an informed decision. But there's a difference between that and making a decision to support a particular branch of the government.
Well, when
because
you
they're-
sit in a hearing and the committee says, oh, well, this bill was brought forward by the Department of Safety, or this bill was brought forward by the
Yes.
Department of Transportation.
Yes.
These are bills that are introduced at the behest of state employees and state agencies to further, in my particular mind, expand their power and protect their
Typically.
immunity.
Yes.
There's a very distinct difference between offering expert advice upon request than bearing the legislature in things that you want done to keep your job.
Right. Oh, I agree. I agree. But I think it is incumbent on the legislature to see that difference and fight back.
The statute can be tweaked to accommodate that.
Okay. Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
give you that bill for next
Yes,
year.
yes, dear. So basically, she's saying, as a lobbyist, she wants. I think there's a contradiction there.
I'm a volunteer. I'm not paid.
We are all volunteers.
strictly
So
volunteers.
our-
Not me. I get paid the big bucks.
oh,
You
we
do
don't.
get-
We
Plus
don't.
tolls, right?
What?
Don't you get tolls too?
Yeah.
No, trolls. We get
Oh, trolls. Oh, well, that's kind of fun.
It is cool. Hey, so I found out the coolest thing.
What?
Midgets are blue and yellow. They're slimy, and if they bite you, you die and you have to go to the hospital, and then they fix you.
I didn't know that.
My 4-year-old granddaughter told me that the other day.
That's good to know. The more
It is
you know.
The more you know. Absolutely.
I learned something new today.
Is that
Exactly.
expanded Medicaid?
I don't know. I don't know. She didn't. She's not really into the expanded Medicaid. She's pretty Republican. So,
Oh, that doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry.
yeah. Wow, that's true.
If
Okay.
I-
Hey, we got it. We got it. It's
We're
time
out
to
of
go.
time.
Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank
we'll
you.
see gun show this weekend. Everett Arena.
We'll be there.
Saturday and Sunday. These gals will be there with pearls on.
Rattling off a
Everybody.
shotgun.